Hi, and welcome back. We will now begin Chapter 2, Information Systems and Strategy. Companies compete for your dollars, your loyalty, and your attention, and the strategies they use often depend on innovative information systems. This chapter explores strategy, starting with the forces that shape industry competition and why some industries are more profitable than others. After studying this chapter, you'll be able to do the following. Describe Porter's competitive 5 forces that shape industry competition. Explain how disruptive innovations, government policies, complementary products and services, and other factors affect how the competitive forces operate. Identify the components of the value chain and explain its extended version. Describe how information systems apply to competitive strategies for business. Explain how information systems apply to strategy for nonprofit organizations and government. And explain why the role of information systems in organizations has shifted depending on whether the systems are deployed to run, grow, or transform the business. The strategies companies use to win consumers, earn market share, make profits, and grow rely on the application of information systems to business areas such as marketing, human resources, manufacturing, and supply chain management. Information systems related strategies can completely transform companies and industries. We will examine the nature of industry competition and how companies exploit openings to gain advantages with information systems. We will also see how nonprofit organizations develop strategies involving information systems to dramatically improve their ability to achieve their missions. During the 1980s, Michael Porter of Harvard Business School introduced a framework to identify 5 forces that influence industry competition and explain differences in profitability across industries. The 5 forces are threat of new entrants, buyer of powers, power of suppliers, the threat of substitutes, and rivalry among existing competitors. We are now going to talk about each of these forces. Threat of new entrants. Incumbent industry players try to keep newcomers out in many ways, often drawing on innovative use of information systems. Incumbents have higher volumes that can mean lower costs per unit for protection. A large consumer base can be significant because of network effects, which refers to the increased value of a product or service that result because there are more people using it. For example, the value of Facebook is low if you can only connect a few people. But the more people who use the social network, the more valuable it becomes to everyone. Another example involves mobile phone carriers that foster network effects by offering free calling to any mobile phone on the same network. The carriers hope you will persuade your friends and family to select the same carrier. Incumbents also devise strategies to raise switching costs, which are the costs the customers incur when they change suppliers. Carriers do this by offering a free cell phone with a 2-year contract, but the phone is not really free. Its cost is embedded in the monthly fees over the life of the contract, and termination fees recapture any remaining costs if the customer stops service early. Loyalty programs are another example of this. Frequent flyers earn rewards for racking up all their flying miles with a single airline, including automatic upgrades and free companion tickets. Travelers go out of their way to stick with their favorite airline and grow their point balance. Power of buyers. The power of buyers rises when they have leverage over suppliers and can demand deep discounts and special services. If a supplier has a small number of buyers, the supplier is at a disadvantage since losing even one could be devastating. For example, companies whose main customer is government must deal with a very powerful buyer. Buyer power also rises when many suppliers offer similar undifferentiated products, and the buyer can deal with any of them to get about the same product. For example, with airline tickets on the most popular and competitive routes, buyers have considerable power. However, the balance of power between buyers and suppliers for many industries shifted dramatically when markets went online and customers could switch from one seller to another with a single click. Unless passengers are tied to one airline with a loyalty program, they can search for the best price. For example, many websites, such as PriceGrabber.com, gather up-to-the-minute prices from sellers so visitors can easily compare them in a single list. The power of suppliers. The power of suppliers is high when they are just about the only game in town and thus can charge more for their products and services. Microsoft is a good example of this. Given the dominance of its Windows operating system, PC assemblers around the world risk losing customers if they don't install it. Microsoft can demand higher prices and require additional perks such as desktop icons. Walmart's suppliers are an example of suppliers with low supplier power. There are a few products made by a single supplier for which Walmart could not find a close alternative to satisfy consumers. The threat of substitutes. It is high when alternative products are available, especially if they offer attractive savings. For example, with the rising fuel costs and tight travel budgets, video conferencing becomes an attractive substitute for business travel. Cisco reports that the company's video conferencing technology is the fastest growing product it has ever had. Information technology plays a key role in many examples of substitutions, from online learning modules that replace face-to-face training classes to internet video that threatens cable television companies. The threats may come from any direction, making it critical for strategists to pay attention to developments on a much wider scale. For example, the newspaper industry failed to grasp how quickly subscribers would switch to the free news available online to save both money and trees. Rivalry among competitors. If firms compete mainly on price, rivalry is high and the industry becomes less profitable. Thus, price cutting triggers retaliation and price wars. Online price cuts can occur with breathtaking speed, with no need to attach new price tags to physical merchandise. Price wars also affect the behavior of buyers, reminding them to shop around for bargains and damaging industry profitability. Slow growth can also lead to intense rivalry among existing competitors. If sales are flat, any competitive strategy from one company will steal market share from the others, so incumbents will counter every competitive move.